one of the big things I would hope we would learn from Web 2 is that even if we have kind of utopian aspirations, business models can send things in the wrong direction or unexpected direction. And social media is a great example to give us some insight into what could go wrong with the metaverse. In the world of social media, 15 years ago, we all believed it was a utopian technology, bring people together, give voice to the voiceless, drive democracy. It actually did all those things. At the same time, business models evolved that drove large platforms to really focus on tracking people, profiling people, and targeting people with content. It wasn't malicious, it was just a reasonable business model that created all these unexpected problems with misinformation, disinformation, segregating populations, driving polarization. If we look to the metaverse, we're going to have a world where large platforms are not just going to track where you click and who your friends are. They could literally track where you are, what you're doing, what direction you're looking, how long your gaze lingers on something. They can track the speed of your gait. They can track your emotion. They can track everything. And so we're going to a world where large platforms will be able to track literally everything you do and say, and now with facial recognition and emotion detection, be able to track how you feel while doing it. That's a big step more intimate in terms of the amount of data collected than social media. And if these platforms end up going in a direction where they're tracking and profiling people with that level of information, and then use it to target people with content, targeted content in the metaverse isn't going to be pop-up ads and videos. Targeted content is changing the world around you. That's a dangerous thing unless there are guardrails in place. And hopefully Web 2 will teach us, hey, we should think ahead rather than wait for the problems to emerge, because once those problems emerge, it's very hard to undo them.
Louis, if you don't mind me drilling down on that, do you think that, you mentioned a lot of potential downsides. Do you think that in itself is something that we would have to get right from a safety perspective in order for people to want to be more attracted to the very concept of the metaverse? Because you mentioned just this idea of this kind of hyper-tracking. You would think that safety precaution would affect its overall kind of adoption from the public standpoint.
In the metaverse, if people start to feel like, hey, you can track my facial expressions and it's being used in a way that I'm not comfortable with, they will lose trust, and it will be very hard to get it back. So I do think that the proliferation will happen. Whether or not there's trust and people feel good about it really depends on how this gets rolled out in the near term.
But to be